When I got this Zhiyun Weebill S included in the box or included in the package, I also got this wireless transmitter from Zhiyun. This wireless transmitter is actually only included in the Pro package when you get that, but I got the basic package and this was a special offer at that time, so I did get the wireless transmitter included in the box. And if you've been watching my recently videos, you know that I have been using my Canon M6 Mark II with this Zhiyun Weebill S and the Sigma 18-35 millimeter lens. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can connect this wireless transmitter to the gimbal and to the Canon M6 Mark II. Coming up. So in the beginning, I had some difficulty getting this wireless transmitter to work with my Canon M6 Mark II. This might be because, at least what I found out, the Canon M6 Mark II is not listed on the compatible list with the Zhiyun Weebill S and the wireless transmitter. But I did figure out one way to do this, and yeah, today I'm going to show you how I did that. But before we start with that, I just have to say, with the wireless transmitter, there came a bracket, and the bracket is placed underneath the gimbal or underneath the plate that the camera is mounted on. And when you put that bracket on, the wireless transmitter just slides straight to where it's supposed to be. So this part was very easy. One of the reasons that the Canon M6 Mark II might not be compatible with the Zhiyun Weebill S is that the connections on the camera is on the wrong side of the camera. If you take the EOS R, for example, those connection points is placed on the left side of the camera, and that would have been a lot better, because when you place the wireless transmitter on the gimbal, the connection points on the wireless transmitter is on the left side of the camera. So it would have been a lot better if the connections on the camera were on the left side of the camera, but unfortunately it's not. So we have to find a way to work around that problem, and I kind of did. So before we go any further, I just want to go through what kind of cables that you need to get the wireless transmitter to connect to your Canon M6 Mark II. So the first cable that you need is a mini HDMI to a micro HDMI. This cable is not that easy to find, at least in the stores where I live, so I had to buy this big chunk of a cable, and this is not that usable with the Canon M6 Mark II and the Zhiyun Weebill S, but for this demonstration, this is the cable that I'm going to use. What I had to do was I had to buy a cable that has a mini HDMI to a regular size HDMI, and I had to get an adapter from a regular size HDMI to a micro HDMI. And all this together is a really big bundle of a cable, and it's not very useful when you want this to be lightweight and a short cable, but for this demonstration, this will have to do. This cable, the mini HDMI to the micro HDMI, is the only cable that you have to buy to get this setup to work. The rest of the cables that we are going to use came with the wireless transmitter, so that's good. The second cable that we are going to use for this is the USB-C to a micro USB cable. This came with the wireless transmitter. The third cable that we are going to use is a micro USB to a micro USB. This also came with the wireless transmitter. Before you get confused, this is probably the cable that you would naturally go for when you want to connect your camera to the wireless transmitter. This end of this cable goes into the wireless transmitter, but this end does not go into the camera. So instead of this cable, we are going to use the micro USB to USB-C. That's because the Canon M6 Mark II has a USB-C connection. The first thing that we do is that we connect the wireless transmitter to the gimbal. So the micro USB goes into the end of the wireless transmitter, and then we connect it to the gimbal. The second thing that we do is that we have to put the mini HDMI in the HDMI connection, and then we have to put the micro HDMI into the camera. And here is where it gets tricky, because this wire is quite big and the connection point is quite small, but it works. And now we have to connect the USB-C in the USB-C connection. And you see that the connection on the wireless transmitter, it's not the same connection as the micro USB. The regular or normal cable would have been this. If we compare these two, there's just an extra section on this other cable. We are going to use the micro USB side of the connection port. Now we have connected the camera to the wireless transmitter and the wireless transmitter to the gimbal. Now we have to connect the wireless transmitter to our phone. And to do that, you have to download the ZY Play app from Zhiyun. When you go into the app, you get different kind of selections on what you want to connect to. What you have to do is you have to scroll all the way to the right, and here you find the wireless transmission transmitter. What we now do is we turn on our gimbal, then we turn on the wireless transmitter, and then we turn on our camera. Then we hit connect now on the wireless transmitter. Now you're taken into the Wi-Fi settings on your phone. You connect to the Zhiyun Tech blah blah blah. Then you go out of the Wi-Fi connections, you go back to the app, and then you enter now. Now what happens is you get into a screen that looks like this. To get what the camera sees onto your phone, you have to press this circle all the way on the top. If you just click that one time, you get into what your camera is seeing. So if I now move my camera like this, you can see my little GoPro that I'm filming on right now. So this is to show you how you can connect your gimbal and wireless transmitter onto your Canon M6 Mark II using the right cables. But the problem is that with these cables that I have, this is way too big. The cables are way too big, too long, too heavy for the gimbal to handle, and besides, I have a problem with the cables that they are sticking way too much out of the camera, so they are hitting the gimbal if I try to move the camera. And the second problem is that the USB-C cable is being pushed by the micro HDMI adapter. So what I did is I went onto eBay and I think I found some cables that might be a good fit for the Canon M6 Mark II and the wireless transmitter and the gimbal. And I'm gonna link these cables in the description down below if you need to get these kind of cables for your Canon M6 Mark II. The first one I got was a 90-degree down-angled micro HDMI male to a mini HDMI flat cable. And I think that this will be better for this setup. The second thing that I got was an angled USB-C adapter. This so that the USB-C cable that goes into the camera doesn't come in conflict with the arm of the gimbal. So I hope that when I get the HDMI cable and the angled USB-C adapter, that this setup is going to be a lot better using the Canon M6 Mark II. So even though the connections on the camera is on the wrong side, there are ways around this so you're able to use your Canon M6 Mark II with the wireless transmitter and the Zhiyun Weebill S. So that's the video for this week. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. That would really help this channel a lot. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button if you feel like it and you like this content and you want to see more of it. And if you do that, also hit that bell notification, then you will get a notification every time I come out with a new video. So yeah, maybe I will see you in another video.